Thank you to all those wonderful people who are out there downloading and listening to us. And just for you guys, a special episode of the Fairy Tale Podcast. Hello, everybody out there listening to us. Once again, we really appreciate you guys sticking around with us for about 22 episodes now. We, again, are joined by Todd Haberkorn, the voice of Natsu from the Fairy Tale series. And we cannot thank you enough for all the times that you bumped into us and been so kind with us.
No, you guys are fantastic with how much you love the show and the coverage you give it and the love that pours out of the speakers and for the podcast that you do. And thank you so much for the lovely artwork and the gifts. I mean, it's great. It's really very kind of you.
We do this out of love for the series itself because we think it's actually worth keeping around in the U.S. and we couldn't be happier with what you guys have done with it so far. Some of us have seen up to 2 episodes, others have seen 4, some of us have seen 12. So, but we are all very, very pleased with what we got to hear. And being fans of the series even before it had been dubbed, we have a lot more respect for what you guys did to this because it felt like it was a labor of love from everybody.
Yeah, with this show in particular, and I don't know why. Because I've had the pleasure of doing lead roles before, and very grateful for any role. But I mean, specifically the lead roles, you have more time on the show, so you tend to get more invested in it. But with Fairy Tale, I don't know. It was the type of role I love. Fighting roles. I love doing battles and watching the show as we were doing it, seeing all the awesome battles and how they're all diverse, they're all different, and they're all creative. It really kind of hooked me with this show, and also to see that Tyler is so passionate and knowledgeable about the show.
Yeah, we had a chance to interview him recently. We have almost an hour and a half long interview with him, and he had just as much passion and enthusiasm as we did, and that is a wonderful thing to have from a director.
Yeah, he was flipping out when we got to meet Mishima-san, the creator, and he was just leg shaking, chewing gum at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and yeah, I'm glad he got to experience that. So that was a lot of fun.
I got to meet him and shake his hand. Unfortunately, I didn't get an interview, but I did get to see an interview he did on YouTube, and probably the funniest thing was great. I watched that interview together because I was screen sharing my YouTube, and we both saw that he said he plays 360, and he's a Gears fan. So he plays Gears of War 3, and we were like, oh, we play that game! We must get his gamer tag! All that stuff. So it was one of those, yay, he's a geek like us! Yeah. Basically. But I mean, he's really, really so kind to his fans. He's got a really wonderful way of telling a story, I think. And I was actually surprised to see just how fast he can put panels and stuff together. I think another thing that kind of separates Fairy Tale from all the other series that's out there is the amount of content that you get from chapter to chapter. Most series, you get about 18 pages per chapter. Well, with Fairy Tale, you actually get about 23.
Oh,
because he's so fast at drawing it all out, he actually has more time to add extra pages. So.
Yeah, and he really, of course, being the creator, knows obviously a lot about the show. But it was interesting to see how many questions he had for us when he met all of us. So it was a good feeling out session for both sides of the production on this. So it was cool to chat with him, and yeah, he's very, very passionate about the show. He knows everything about it, and even with so many episodes that are out there,
Because 104 just came out, and actually yesterday on Friday, 41 and 42 were released on Funimation. So guys, make sure to check those episodes out because we will be recapping them Monday.
I know what I will be doing when I get home.
Yeah, a lot of us are like, man, we are going to be so busy when we get home.
Why can't there be better internet signal here?
I know, right? Well, we might get a chance to jump onto YouTube.
But I live 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's
15 and I
all right. So everybody to Luxus's house.
Yeah.
Well, we got to get the 100 episodes.
Yes, we do. I'm
Oh,
already scheduling my session for my tattoo.
yeah,
So.
about
some
that.
sex
I'm
tattoos going
terrified
on.
of needles.
Oh yeah.
Like, I will run away screaming like a girl who just saw a spider, which I actually do. And I'm actually debating on getting the tattoo too.
Same
Levies,
here.
which
I'll get
would
the same
be
color as Loki.
right
Oh,
here.
right on. Okay.
Not just spiders either. Sometimes it's also
Not
Yeah.
the same place. There's like
Puzzle.
You,
writings going back
if you don't
and
mind a little
see that.
explicit content, go Charles Freaks Out on YouTube.
Okay.
There was a possum in her room, and she started freaking out about it while we were just on a random Skype call. And she's screaming.
Do you want me to
freaking
do
out.
it?
No, it's okay. You can find it. She starts freaking out. Her dad comes in with a gun to shoot it, misses the possum. It runs away, tries to shoot it again. It is so hilarious.
Climbs
We're
up
just
my
sitting here.
manga. Like, I have some manga on a bookshelf and it's climbing up it, and my dad aims the gun. I go, don't shoot the manga!
Wow. Okay, I'll look that up.
Yeah, and it's about 15 minutes of us just dying and her just freaking out. And
It's okay.
I do have some language in there, so.
yeah, well,
It's okay. In some parts of the United States, possums are considered cats. So
How is
Really?
that?
Okay.
rednecks.
Okay.
yeah, that's true. But it was quite funny. So my question would be, since you raised this point earlier, what were some of the questions that Mashina-san asked of you?
Yeah, kind of what our favorite story arcs were, how it was because our recording style is very different than in Japan, what our process was like, how much we knew about the show while recording it, before recording it, and it's I guess it was a lot of fun to meet with him because it's rare to meet the Japanese counterpart. But I've now met him. I've met the producer for Soul Eater. I've met Luffy. I've met Frieza, and who else? Frieza and and Gyuroro, who's also, I guess, Helsing, Alucard from Helsing.
Awesome.
And I've met a lot more seiyus and Japanese producers now, but but to be able to meet the guy who not only does the manga and the anime, but it was great to meet him.
Well, that's brilliant because the same seiyu for Luffy in One Piece is also you can check these off as well. Krillin in Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And Koenma in Yu Yu Hakusho.
Okay, yeah.
So it was really great.
Oh, and Tamino. Forgot about Tamino. Gundam creator. So.
All right,
Can't
I've got to get this out of the way real quick. Like I told you before, I started watching Sergeant Frog on Hulu.
Oh, excellent.
And I fell in love with that series. As hilarious as it is, I think probably the funniest part is the fact that Chris Sabat is like the gung-ho, diehard, like badass frog who's in love with the teenage girl that has like all the physical ability. That is probably the funniest dynamic of that show. I mean, and there's a lot of funny moments, but I just could not help falling over laughing on that one.
Yeah, Sabat is really a brilliant voice actor. He's very talented. He's it blows me away that how good he is behind the mic. I mean, he's really, really wonderful. I mean, he's truly talented with voiceover. And whenever I started voiceover with Funimation, one of my mottos in the booth was like, I gotta be like the Sabat.
So I think one of the things that I definitely want to say to our fans is if you love Fairy Tail, I would definitely recommend Sergeant Frog. It's not nearly as big in the U.S. as it is in Japan, and that's a sad thing. It really, really should be. Geroro is amazing. Geroro Gunso.
There we go.
Yeah, it's a wonderful series, and you guys should definitely check it out. Hulu, Netflix, make sure to get on that. All right, anybody else around the table have any questions? Yes, for once I can say around the table, and it's true.
Yeah, because we're all sitting here. I did not know that you were Alan Walker on D. Gray Man until after I started watching Fairy Tail.
Oh, right on. Okay.
And what was it? You said you were in the lead role. What was it like being in the lead role for D. Gray Man?
That was a different situation because with D. Gray Man, I got to direct it and be in it. So casting it, I got to look at it from a different perspective because that show I really care about a lot because I got to spend so many hours with that show. and really got to really know that show more so than any other show. Even more so, not as Fairy Tail and D Gray Man, I kind of know about the same. But with D Gray Man, I have to review the episodes and things like that. And with that show, it was controversial at first because everyone said, well, Alan's got to have a British accent because he's in the manga. It says, he's got to have that. But we did 2 episodes. We did 2 passes of the first episode. One where I did it all in a standard English accent, and then one with a British accent. And the line producer, Sabin, said that he liked the one without the accent for several reasons. One, because it made Alan seem less likable with the accent, but also he said that if we stay true to that, well, then that means all the other characters have to be, their nationalities as far as language goes have to be accurate too. But if we do that, then that means I've got to teach Colleen her lines in German because Miranda's from Germany. Then I've got to teach Aaron Dismuke's from India. So, I mean, last time I checked, he doesn't speak that language. So, I mean, I don't have time to, it's not possible to teach, I can't get Colleen fluent in German in 6 weeks, you know what I mean, for her role. And so we decided to go with the English dialect and making it even more close of a resemblance to Ed than ever. So I saw this really cool fan art where it was Ed versus Alan, and it was because they're very similar, but that was I actually have that artwork, I think, at home.
Well, in the subs, everybody speaks Japanese anyway, so
yeah,
they might as well all speak English.
There we go.
I have to say, I'm glad that that they went with the English accent instead of the British one.
Well, somewhere out there, it's floating around. I need to see if I can get a copy of it. So I would be interested to go back and listen to that.
So
like
again, buy more D Gray Man because there needs to be more D Gray Man out here in the U.S.
Yes.
I want my scene where Rode just plants one on Alan. I want that scene.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a Rode
that
Alan
far.
shipper.
I didn't know about that.
In season 2, there's a moment where they just came into this little area that has tiki there, and there's a giant table, and Rode just comes out of nowhere. Alan wraps him in a hug, and then just plants one on him, and it surprises everybody. Even Alan's just sitting there like, So,
well, I mean, I'd love to finish out I would just want to finish what's out there, and I know that there's only 50 episodes left.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to finish it.
It's in that takes place about the 70s or 80s.
Yeah, I am not that far in the manga nor the anime, but he actually told me about that part, and I was like, where is it? I had to go find it.
It's kind of like for a while I've been pushing that there should be a Negima anime series that follows the manga almost line for line, because the Negima manga, I mean, and no disrespect to anybody that was involved in the dub, it was actually more the fact the anime series in Japan actually broke too far off of what was going on in the manga and focused. The first series focused more on the perverted comedic side of the series, and the second one was just, it took itself almost way too seriously at a point. So there was no kind of middle ground there, even though it kind of lightly followed the manga. But like where this series has been going with the story, Ken Akamatsu's done a brilliant job of just putting it all together in the format that it's in, and I think that it would be great just to get that going again.
Yeah.
Plus, I thought Greg did a good job as Negi. So.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, that's one of the things, bringing it back to Fairy Tail, that I love so much about that series. There's not much deviation away from the original source material of the manga. It's very, very, they're very, very stringent with sticking with what is out there, and coming off of a show like Naruto where there's so much filler and it feels like Studio Pierrot is just doing whatever it wants most of the time, it's actually very, very refreshing. And I would say that there's, from just an acting standpoint, that's one of the best things to work with, is something that you can get a hold of the source material even when you're going over the lines and stuff. Like you can flip open the manga and take a look at and see kind of what's going on there.
Yeah, we have. I mean, I hope people love it and get out there and appreciate that it does follow the manga so closely, because we need to get to episode 100.
Just to make sure that Todd gets his tattoo, we need to make sure.
There we go. Yeah.
Could you list a few of the characters you actually voiced?
Sure.
I don't really know.
So Alan and D. Gray Man, and of course Natsu here. But yeah, Kero and Sergeant Frog, Hikaru and Oran High School Host Club, Firo and Bakano, Naru in Ghost Hunt, Watanuki and Holic, Joseph and Blast Rider. What else? I've done Dragonaut, Tajima and Big Wind Up. God, I can't think of them all. My brain isn't big enough.
Neither, it's okay. Neither is Anime
you're
News
just
Network.
that
So
good.
Well, there's a lot. I've been Ling in Full Metal and stuff like that. So and Keisuke and Initial D. So yeah, it's. But I've had the pleasure of playing a lot of different roles, luckily. So yeah.
You named a lot that I like, so it's okay.
Okay, good.
So this is I usually don't get in on the interviews because every time they have one, I'm usually out. So it makes me happy to finally be able to do this. I always have just random questions, but you talk about how you have to get more in depth with some than the others, and I've listened and watched other interviews, and some of the people are pretty much when they record, that's all they pretty much know. Like Vic, when he first found out he had died, he hadn't read ahead and found out, oh, he didn't actually die and all this stuff. And then there's other people who they've already finished the entire Japanese, so they know what's coming and do all that. Is that kind of similar with you, or do you just kind of go based off what you're doing for?
I learned. I work closely with the director to make sure that I know the show. I would love to be able to get the scripts beforehand. But the problem is there's a lot of legality and liability with that, so we don't get the scripts beforehand. So when I see it on the screen, that's the first time I'm seeing it. Okay. Every now and then a director will want me to watch the show ahead of time, but it's hard to find time to do that because by the time you audition to the time you start recording, there are mere couple of days in between it. So it's like, how am I supposed to know that I'm supposed to record on Fairy Tail Monday? Well, now I'm supposed to watch 50 episodes from now until, it's just not possible with everything else going on. But, I make sure that's why the director is so important because they know the show and I'm trusting that they are going to guide me the proper way with my character and with what I'm doing so that I am as accurate as possible to the end result,
Exactly. That was my biggest thing with, we talk about how amazing some of the voice actors are. And getting into that character can't be easy on some people, especially with how you'll have someone go from one specific character type to a complete reverse one. I mean, honestly, I can't think of one at the moment, but it's like they'll go from soft-spoken, softer voice to this really deep, very out-there voice. I mean, that would be really Natsu, the very energetic super guy that just comes.
Yeah, like Natsu
a lot of people,
going to Ghost Hunt, Naru and Ghost Hunt. Those are two completely different roles, and then you had Sergeant Frog, and that's a completely different role, and then you had Joseph from Blast Rider. So it's taking in what you're seeing on screen and adapting and kind of trying to put my spin on it and say, okay, well, I think this is how this would go. I think this is how it should sound, and it's up to the director to kind of mold that and let me know if I'm accurate or not.
Okay.
You had a question, Loki?
Yeah. You know how in Fairy Tail they all have magic? Like, if you could actually have any kind of magic that the wizards from Fairy Tail, who would you pick?
See, that's the thing is like I'm good with fire.
you would really want Natsu's fire.
Yeah, man.
What would you do with it?
Firefighter.
I would totally fight crime. I would totally do that.
You would cook meals with more confidence.
Cook meals with more confidence in more places. But no, I'd totally fight crime. It would be awesome. I'd want to get, like, the perfect combo would be the Human Torch combo. Because that's pretty cool.
Why did you dry your clothes?
I think I could honestly see Todd walking into a Japanese restaurant and being like, oh no, check it out. I am the coolest hibachi chef ever.
Yeah, it'd be. I'm happy with that. And if I had to have Gray's powers, that'd be cool too. Because he's actually, you know what, Gajiel is pretty cool.
I'm a huge Gajiel fan, even though I'm
that fight
is
is brutal.
It's amazing.
We were waiting. We're waiting for the next set of box sets to come out so that we can hear what Gajiel sounds like doing the little song Shubidua.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no, it sounds good. I remember.
I think a lot of the Dragon Slayers actually have many different awesome abilities. That's the cool thing about the Dragon Slayers. It's not one particular type. It's
And
not
it's
like
not
they're all
just
fire.
elemental.
Right.
That's where lots of shows just go. They're like, oh well, we have all the base elements, and there you go. That's it. And
It's like when we get all 5 of the Dragon Slayers together, we shall form Captain Planet Dragon Slayer.
Well, I think it's cool because with this show, and I don't know how it is with other long form shows like a One Piece or something, but it seems like he definitely is aware that this is a longer show, and so he accommodates for that with the imagination of the character.
Right. Well, I mean, another thing that I really like about this series is that the character development that goes on. It started out when we were checking out when I was doing the PowerPoint for a panel presentation, when I was putting all that together, and I was trying to kind of sum up the arcs as best I could without giving any, too much spoiler away. And I kept seeing this recurring theme in just about every arc from Galuna Island on. Somebody's past is slowly revealed, and you learn a bit more about that character. And it's not something that happens suddenly. It's a little bit over time. Sometimes you'll get snippets during an entire arc, and then sometimes you'll have like maybe an episode and a half or 2 episodes of actual backstory. But that's another thing that I love about it. It really fleshes out those characters.
We need Natsus.
Yeah, we need.
Yeah,
Natsu's is actually the backstory.
Yeah.
His past is the one we know the least about.
See more about my
It's
daddy.
like,
Yeah.
it's like that with all the Dragon Slayers.
You don't know
You
much
couldn't-
about
you
their
couldn't have been
past.
adopted by a dragon.
Currently,
Just like that. You need more.
Yeah.
well, there are currently 4 Dragon Slayers that we know of, even though one technically doesn't count.
Yeah.
By technicality, there are still 3 Dragon Slayers in Fairy Tale
Isn't
at
there
present.
5? The poison dragon.
It doesn't count.
He's not an actual Dragon Slayer.
Yeah, that's
Rosa
like,
says.
that's like
So-
Fluxus. He's not a Dragon Slayer too because it was like put
in him. He had Dragon Slayer Lacrima put in him. That's why he doesn't count as an actual Dragon Slayer.
Is that the same thing with the poison guy?
Again, that's an arc that the dub hasn't got to. We'll get to that later. But it's just really, really interesting how well thought out and put together these characters were.
Yeah, I mean,
And
he does a great job.
yeah, how much does that help you out as an actor?
It really is kind of because for me, I take it on a scene by scene basis. So the overall arc of everything as a whole doesn't, when I say it doesn't concern me, it's not, what I mean is that it's not priority over what my character's specific journey is. That's my priority.
Right.
Making sure that, so everything else that happens around that, because I just finished a show where there are certain plot points that pop up in the show that amount to nothing, that absolutely don't get revisited. But that doesn't affect how I'm going to do my arc because that's my priority. So
Right.
I really just kind of try to have a laser focus as far as what I'm going to do, So.
Well, I mean, that's another thing that I like about Natsu, though, is even though you don't really know too much about where he came from, he's still a developing character, and they're still always continuously developing characters. So that's one of those
you're
things
seeing a lot of change, as far as especially how I interact with Urza and stuff like that. I mean, that shows it right there of how we first interacted to how I interact with her by the end of the box set here. So it's all in there. You're seeing all the development happen.
You had a question, Sean?
No, comment. I know as a fan of anime, I do appreciate the fact that, Hiroshima puts so much thought into his characters. I have ADD moments and ADHD moments when I'm trying to watch manga and anime, and if it doesn't hold me, I'm just like, gone.
Like a boss.
And I actually can pay attention to it.
Oh, good. Well, I hope that's the case for a lot of people. So I hope they dig on it.
Well, I mean, the internet buzz about this show and about this series has been overwhelming. I mean, it's crazy to think that just a couple of, maybe like 8 months ago, the top 3 manga and the big ones that were always talked about were Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach. And now it's Naruto, One Piece, and Fairy Tail because
Really?
Fairy Tail
on
the online community has officially spoken, and Bleach has been knocked out of contention by Fairy Tail.
Yeah, and I'm dressed up as Soy Clone from Bleach, and I was a Bleach fan before Fairy Tail, and I will sit and read Fairy Tale before I will actually go and catch up with you.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
It
was
is.
like
It is actually that popular online.
that. Okay.
I mean, we've only been up on iTunes with our feed for about since September 1st. We've already got over 50,000 downloads.
Wow.
We did 2 days ago. We did 2,000 downloads in just that day. That's
Nice.
just going through. And we're gonna end up because it's an hour and a half long. Basically, we're gonna have to do the interview as just a standalone. So when we post that, it'll be that interview, and then we have to post the next episode.
That
So.
could be like episode 22.5.
I mean, it's not that I don't have love for Naruto. I do, but I mean, where the fillers have kicked in, it's kind of shaved a little bit of my love off. And Fairy Tail hasn't quit on me, so to speak. Like, it never quit on me. Like, my love has only grown larger and larger for this series.
Well,
And I think a lot of it has to do with the characters and the dedication and work behind it from both ends.
Well, that's good to hear. I mean, congratulations on the popularity of your podcast. That's awesome.
I just think it's due to the fact that we're actually able to report on something that is being worked on and cared for so well. I'd consider our success based on your success. Yeah, the success of everyone involved. I would just say if the stats of our podcast are anything to go off of, you could look at that as basically like a sample. I see nothing but good things for this series. And
So I'm getting that tattoo, basically.
Yeah, basically.
you might want to go and schedule your appointment,
Okay.
like, as soon as this interview is over.
Well,
You're
another
getting
of the
100
things that we've been
episodes.
pushing about is that we're trying to make sure that the OVAs get dubbed too, because there is an OVA. I think the second one, when they're at they're at a high school called Fairy High School, and Natsu doesn't breathe fire; he just eats lots of spicy food.
Okay, well, here's how I understand. So my understanding is that the next batch, the next chunk that we would get would bring us only to 96 episodes.
And that's still pretty far.
But they said there are also 2 OVAs. Now, if you take the length of the OVAs, that's like 4 episodes.
Yes.
And so I went to the brand manager when we were in New York and I said, does that count? And I asked Tyler this. I said, would that count if we did 96 episodes and 2 OVAs? Would that count as 100? And they go, yes. So if we did that and got the 2 OVAs and did those, like I said, the day I finish the last recording day on that last OVA, I will, because they'll finish it at 6, most likely. I will go to the tattoo place and make it happen. And they're gonna film it, and they're gonna film the whole process, and they're gonna throw it online as, I don't know, DVD extra or something. I think it'd be cool.
That
for
is
DVD
awesome.
extra.
That would be like the most awesome DVD extra.
So
Okay.
I think the question now after that is, are you going to be a screamer? When
That's
they're
my
putting that
question.
on?
How are you
I
going
have no
to
clue what
react?
to expect. I've never had a tattoo. I have no idea what to expect. I don't know how. I know it's gonna hurt, but I don't know how much.
I can
might
give you a
need to do it
little
a
feedback. I've had piercings. I've had my eyebrow, my lip, and my belly button, and one needle, one time, in and out, hurts.
Different size needle.
You can
Yeah,
barely see it. You can barely see it. I used to have the Japanese characters for promise and for honor. Well, honor and wisdom on the sides of my arm. And the guy that did it wasn't very good because obviously it faded away. But the biggest issue I had was because I'm ADHD, my arm was twitching like crazy every time he did it because it would kick the nerves in and I'd be like,
Oh,
And it was
okay.
like, so basically I just had to, I had to have him tie my hand down so that I couldn't move. But that was about it. I mean, it hurts a little bit, but I mean, it's just kind of something that it's not like saying getting slammed in the foot by a sledgehammer or something like that.
Okay.
Painful. It's just like, I would consider it mildly annoying, but then again, I've been in situations where my nerdiness got me beat up, so I don't know.
And I'd also assume it'd probably also depend on where exactly you're wanting to get it.
Well,
Depends on the nerve.
Well, I mean, yeah, if
exactly
it's if
what's
you're
going
getting it right about here,
Yeah.
that's not like a major nerve cluster, so you're actually pretty safe with this.
Okay, well, it's gonna be all gray with a black outline.
Oh, that's awesome.
Might,
Yeah,
yeah,
you
it
might
takes
need to
time,
get touch
and
ups.
after a while, I'll be like,
Oh, I'm doing it one sitting. Well, I specifically chose those colors too because the couple of tattoo people I've talked to said because you're going that route with the colors, it'll be one sitting. Like, you don't have to come back.
Oh, okay.
So they said if it was all red, you'd have to come back.
Yeah.
But so with those two colors, I'm like, okay, well, great. Because I want to do it in one go.
I wonder how they would do mine.
And then
white.
next time that we're at a convention and you've got that, we're getting the picture with the tattoos.
Dude, yeah.
So
No, it's gonna be a whole unveiling, like bam. So because it's I gotta. Cause,
so you're listening, Funimation. Invite us to that. Invite us. To
Yes, we would like to. We would like
we
to
can hear the
see,
scream.
and maybe if we man up to.
Well, I mean,
we
at least
show
the
off our
unveiling.
tattoos.
there we go. Yeah, we can all get up there
and
at
show
one
off
time.
our tattoos and be like,
I
kind
wish
of like.
I had my necklace, my fairy tale necklace.
Right, kind of like in Galuna Island when they show up at the village, they're like, show us your tattoos, and they're like, boom, we just get up there, yeah.
There we go.
Go ahead.
What about the movie? Because I'm sure you're not going to want to swallow fire.
No, I'll do the fire breathing. I'll breathe some fire. Yeah, I'll do it.
Awesome. So
I'll be the guy that stands across like this
With a
with a
marshmallow.
stick
With
and be
the
like,
torch?
okay,
Yeah.
spit the alcohol out.
There we go. Yeah,
Right
I'll
here.
do that.
At the end of this, do it.
Just
I'll be standing there with a stick and a marshmallow.
Yeah, I'll do that. It'll be scary, but I'll do it.
Just be
Yeah.
like, we'll have hot dogs and marshmallows.
I actually
Of course,
mentioned
kid.
that to my dad. I was like, dude, there's rumors.
So what you do is you put alcohol here,
No.
and then you spit it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you actually have to put this fire retardant stuff on your mouth.
On your mouth. Okay. So,
So now you're
It
getting into
helps
the
to
technical
do that.
details.
It will hurt
Okay.
less if you do that. Like my dad.
but it's gonna hurt
you will feel the heat. My dad, he did it once, and my dad looks like Santa Claus.
though. Oh wow.
Like the belly.
Looked?
And the beard.
No, looks. Look.
No, look.
He did this when I didn't even exist, but like my brothers and my sisters told me about this. My dad has the beard, like Santa Claus, and so he doesn't keep it down in here. And my dad's like, watch this.
Did he have any
Famous
training
last
for this?
words.
No,
Blast
my
Chat.
dad
I'm gonna
just-
get training.
My dad just
Okay,
took
yeah.
a
Good idea.
that
Good
head
idea.
Okay.
They catch his beard on fire.
So, I mean, what have been
Don't
some
have
of
any facial
your
hair when you do that.
Oh no, I will not.
so
No.
what have been some of your favorite experiences working on the show so far?
All the yells. I doing all the yells are a lot of fun for me. They hurt. That's the thing is they hurt a lot, and afterwards I can't do anymore. But doing those have been the most fun, I'd say. Seeing the fights and doing that was great. So any fighting. Any of the attacks have been great. And on the first time I heard the attacks fully produced, like the first yell fully produced and the effects they put on it was really cool.
Now, do you think that after you've been doing the yells for so long, like after a while, do you think that it'll stop hurting afterwards?
No, because it's the same damage either way. There are actually certain. It's actually affected my singing voice. I can't hit certain notes and I can't sing. Like if I took a song that I sang in college compared to now, it'd be totally different. Because I have recordings from when I would do music in college. They sound totally different. There's just things I can't hit anymore, just because of the amount of yelling I've had to do and the amount of basically damage I've had to do to my voice. But I wouldn't trade it. I'm fine with it, So hey,
Okay, you said you sing.
yeah.
Can you sing something?
Oh, I need a guitar.
Alrighty.
But actually next year, on my panels, that's going to be one of my panels. Is an acoustic set for one of my panels.
Where?
Any con I go to for 2012.
Yay, that's awesome.
Are you gonna be at A1?
We'll see if Stan has me back. I'd be happy to come back. Yeah.
Oh, please come back, 'cause
Yeah.
that's where I'm gonna be. It's like a 45-minute drive for
I'd
me.
be happy to do it. So, yeah.
I actually did have one earlier and I forgot it because we just kept talking about other stuff.
I'm stuck in fangirl moment.
Yeah.
I'm like, when
I know,
people
right?
sing.
Well, there's a clip online. They have a clip online
Well,
Really?
alright.
on YouTube.
I'm gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about the DVDs themselves.
Sure, yeah.
How it all kind of started off. I had to kind of get used to your voice because I was used to hearing Natsu. But after a while, it just kind of felt natural after like a couple of episodes. And when y'all did the ninja moment, that was when you sold me. You were like a ninja, and I'm like, I was like, if you say the way y'all said ninja and the fact that they say nin, it didn't matter. It was the same exact thing coming across, and I was like, I was on with Gray, and we were just checking that part out, and we fell over. You could just hear. It was great. That's the thing I enjoy the most is that the comedy is exactly where it's supposed to be. It's all still there. Like the moments that I cared about and really pulled me in, whether they be action or emotional moments in the sub, had the same effect in the dub, and the comedy is just as well timed as it was in the dubs.
Well, good. That's good to hear. Tyler would be happy to hear that.
Well, we told him that too. Go ahead.
When you and the crew first watched the series, what was your first reaction to Virgo's appearance when she was that big, large gorilla lady from episode 3?
It was creepy. Because it's just like, ew.
Those were the episodes at the panel at NYAF.
Yeah,
so.
it was just very
disturbing.
That was
like,
our reaction. I know when I watched that, I was here go, oh my god.
The first thing I thought was, man, behind closed doors, it gets gross.
or when Duke Everlew was calling Lucy ugly, and then you saw the girls he had with him, and you're like,
dude, that one with the really long, stretched out face
gross.
and the nose that goes on for months.
Yeah, that was nasty.
Yeah.
That guy needs to be punched or something.
So Natsu the Fairy Tale Ninja. That's gonna be our new thing.
Awesome.
We should make a parody song on it. Natsu the Fairy Tale Ninja.
There we go. Coming up.
We've already done our Christmas parodies for Konoha Corner. Why not do? Well, we've got an idea for one fairy tale that we were starting to talk about. We're actually scripting together a fairy tale Christmas story, just a fairy Christmas. And one of the things we wanted to do is see if we could get in contact with Bob, the narrator.
Bob Magruder.
Yes, and have him do the narration bit. So I was like, yeah, but if we do it that way, we might as well just try and contact everybody else. And I was like, I don't know if they'd be willing to do this as like a parody capacity.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I think Bob's game for stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You should try to contact him. He's a really nice guy.
If so, we'd be trying to contact you again to do any Natsu dialogue for us, and it would just be something that we just kind of put up and see if people like it.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yes, of course. I need to talk about Team Haberkorn, of course.
Been sitting here pointing at these shirts for the last 3
years. I was trying to think of any other fairy tale stuff I had. Well, of course, you do Team Haberkorn and the Tribute Wars. Would you like to explain a little more about that?
Team Haberkorn's a fan club. It's one of the only, I think it is the only anime voice actor paid fan club. And the reason for that is we talked a lot about that, and we support the Acadiana Humane Society, which is a no-kill shelter, and out of Louisiana, and we support them. A portion of the proceeds that everybody pays their membership goes to them to support all the animals that they house in their homes. They don't put them in a facility. It's in their homes. They pay for everything out of pocket if it's not covered by donation. And I felt like we needed to support that because they don't just have like 2 or 3 animals. They've got a lot of animals that they care for, and it's a lifestyle they have. It's not like they can get Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off. It is all the time, every day they do this. They drove from Louisiana to Texas to get some animals or to show them to someone for an adoption. So it's very important that we support them. Another reason why we have a cost is because of just what you get when you join. You get a Team Haberkorn T-shirt, a lanyard, a membership badge, an autograph card. You get a different kind of welcome badge. You get a welcome card. You get access to all the Toddcasts, and the Toddcasts. I mean, it's not like I'm sure you guys know doing podcasts. It's not like a 5-minute thing.
No, it's not.
I mean, it takes it's like a full work day.
That was another thing I wanted to ask you about because when listening to the podcast, you have a lot of sound effects in there, and I'm wondering where you get your sound effects from. Dude,
it's from everywhere. I'm like a Jawa. I'm trying to find things. But it takes a long time to do it. It's just me that does it, unless I get people in for commercials and stuff. But I have to write it all. I do it all. The webmaster puts in hundreds of hours on this site. And these are all people, the core team, spelled with a K, and we put in a lot of hours every day, every week, and we communicate through email every single day. And so these are people that have full-time jobs that on top of this manage the Team Haberkorn site. Like, for example, we just had the chat room open tonight. We'll have it again open tomorrow. The webmaster's on there. He's on there the full 3 hours.
Sounds a lot like what we're doing with this, because
Yeah.
I mean, I've got school, I work at home, and on top of this, I did have 2 shows. Thankfully, Gray was kind enough to take Konoha Corner away from me and work on that so that we could get
It's a
caught
lot of
up on
work.
that show, because I had these 2 shows, and it
And you're happy to do it, and you're happy that there's an audience for it. But when you think about it, and on top of that, there are 2 membership styles. It's $30 for the membership to the club. You get all that swag, all the access to everything, and then there's a $35 membership, which allows artists to submit artwork. And if we like it, we put it on a shirt, we put it on a poster, and we sell it at cons, and that artist gets a portion of those proceeds. So there's a lot of opportunity for everyone to benefit from this. But in $30 for a year, I mean, that's one tank. It's less than a tank of gas.
Right.
It's less than 8 cents a day. It's a trip for a date. It's a date to a movie.
right.
You go to a movie, you get a popcorn and a drink.
Also want to
That's
point
more-
out,
yeah,
on that autograph card, Natsu is now there. So
I got that modified. for
yeah,
you. Yeah.
it is. Natsu is on there, and I'm like, yes.
I contacted Patrick, who did the card,
Mhm.
and that wasn't on there. And I said, hey, man, could you redo this card and put Natsu on there? And so we got that done specifically for that. And so you get there's a lot of benefits. And you also get to enter contests every single month where you can win anime, win ringtones, personalized ringtones that I do. I do everything myself as far as the ringtones go and the podcast. But we have a really strong group that works on the team. I work on it with them. We have really good communication. Everything that happens on the site, everything that's said on there goes through me. So it's the only source for, this is the slogan I like to use, it's your only source for 100% digestible corn. And so we have a good time with it. But that's why that's a little bit about it.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. All right. So that has been a wonderful insight into Team Haberkorn and a great interview with Todd Haberkorn
Thanks for
himself,
having
which
me.
we really
Good to
appreciate.
see you as always. Thank you.
Well, hopefully we'll get a chance to run into you again next year.
Of course. Yeah.
All right, guys, so that was the interview that we did with Todd Haberkorn at Anime Blast Chattanooga. I want to apologize again for the sound quality. This time I did not actually bring my professional mic with me, and so I was using just kind of the built-in mic on my laptop, and I really want to apologize for that. And if you hear bumps and sounds and stuff during the audio, I can't edit that out, but that was basically people touching the table and moving stuff around. We were trying to be quiet and, make it easier to kind of record and edit, but I mean, there's just stuff that you can't account for all the time. And so I want to apologize for the sound quality, but I hope you got the chance to hear everything and enjoy it. And I mean, if you have any other questions that you think we should ask Todd at a later date, feel free to send those in. Send them over to us, fairytalepodcast@gmail.com, and we will be happy to ask those questions of any of the people that we're going to interview. Look forward to our next interview that is coming up, which will be the interview with the 3 con chairs for Anime Blast Chattanooga, and our next one that we're looking to do is an interview with Tia Ballard, the voice of Happy. So get those questions ready, get up on Twitter, get those Twitter fingers working, email us again. Once more, I'm just going to post this out, Fairytale Cast on Twitter, at Fairytale Cast. If you want to check us out on Facebook, just type in Fairytale Podcast. It'll take you to our fan page. You can post on there. Be like, hey, I got a question for this person. Can you ask this in your next interview? Yeah, we'd be glad to. I mean, we are going to look over your question to make sure that it's not like something that will get them or us in trouble. We kind of have to do that. And yeah, don't go bashing on people just because you don't like a dub or something. We just ask you to be courteous. That's all we ask. And of course, if you want to send us that email, yet again, fairytalepodcast@gmail.com. So we hope that you really enjoyed this interview. And again, once more, I apologize for the sound quality. But I hope that you guys enjoyed the intro. That's going to be our intro for all interviews that we do that are standalone interviews. And basically standalone means anything that's more than 30 minutes long is a standalone. Obviously, this is about like 45 minutes, so yeah, it's a standalone. Alright guys, so thank you so much. We appreciate it. Remember, if you want to help support us in getting to all these different cons, you just go to konohacornerpodcast.webs.com, click donate. That'll take you to our PayPal, and you can donate to us to help us get to all the cons we're trying to get to and get all that wonderful insider news for you. And, of course, all the wonderful interviews that you guys are hoping to hear about. So, really appreciate it. All the listeners that we have right now, and this is especially for you guys. Thank you so much. Natsu Dragneel here saying that mages are so much cooler than internet pirates. So, from our guild to yours, peace out from the greatest guild in the world, Fairy Tail.